Today we're going to compare the Joie Pact Pro and the Nuna TRVL LX, two auto-folding ultra-compacts from sister companies that share a lot of similarities but are nonetheless sold at pretty different prices. So let's jump straight into it then, looking at the advantages and disadvantages of each model in turn with regards to child comfort, ease of use, longevity, and driving characteristics, before ending with a discussion of under what conditions and uses one might make a better purchase over the other, as well as judging how much value they provide for their varying price tags. And starting off with the Pact Pro, the model clocks in at 6.3 kilos and folds down to 66 by 47 by 24 centimeters. It can take 22 kilos in the seat and 4.5 in the underslung storage basket. As far as child comfort is concerned, the Pact Pro has an upright position that's a bit too sloped in my opinion, though its recline is near full flat and usable for newborns. Seat size is quite nice on the Pact Pro, with a width of 34 centimeters, a length for the sitting surface of 88, meaning the combined lengths of the backboard, baseboard, and leg rest, and a total longer length of 117, when taking into account space under the canopy with the seat upright, and the length to the front frame mounted footrest. Here I'd note that the backboard length of 51 is longer than average, which is a great feature for providing head support as your child grows when the seat is reclined. As far as other aspects of the seat are concerned, the model has decent ventilation via mesh panels both in the canopy as well as above the seat back, but beyond this, there are a few negatives in that the textiles feel a little on the cheap side, the padding is pretty thin, the shoulder straps have to be rethreaded to change elevation, and the canopy, though acceptably long when the seat is upright, is not extendable and may be inadequate with regards to sun coverage when the seat is reclined with a smaller child. Moving on to parent comfort, the Pact Pro's handle stands at a fixed height of 102 centimeters, while its shopping basket is acceptably sized for an ultra-compact, but unpleasant to access in my opinion, due to the slope of the seat and the height of the rear lip. As far as folding is concerned, the activation mechanisms on the handle are a bit loose, which sometimes makes them fiddly to use, though on the positive side, the process is one-handed, and as I mentioned already, both of these models auto-fold, which can be a convenient feature when carrying a child in your other arm. As far as the folded package goes, the model is light to lift, and the bumper bar doubles as a carry handle, though the folded dimensions are a bit too tall for the IATA's guidelines for cabin luggage, unfortunately. As far as how the Pact Pro feels to use, it's a bit on the light and weak side, with a few riveted points that bend and strain as you steer, especially when carrying a heavier child. Looking at driving, the Pact Pro has good-sized wheels for an ultra-compact, 6 inches in the front and 6.3 in the back, and noticeable four-wheel suspension that allows it to tackle broken sidewalks and lighter cobblestones or easier off-road conditions when you need it to. Though, that being said, it is a sort of model likely to loosen up quite a bit over time if you overdo it with such conditions. Moving on, the TRVL LX clocks in at a heavier 7.7 kilos and folds down to a larger 71 by 52 by 34 centimeters. It can take the same 22 kilos in the seat and 4.5 in the underslung storage basket. When it comes to child comfort, the TRVL LX's upright position is also a bit too sloped unfortunately, though the reclined position is similarly near flat and newborn acceptable. As far as the dimensions of the seat are concerned, the TRVL LX also has a width of 34 centimeters, but has a shorter sitting surface of 79, due mainly to having a shorter backrest of 43 centimeters, which is a big disadvantage versus the Pact Pro in my opinion. That being said, the TRVL LX does at least have a more or less equal longer length with the seat upright, due to having more space under the canopy and a tad more distance to the footrest. As far as other aspects of the seat are concerned, the TRVL LX has a bit of additional ventilation built into the canopy and a much nicer seat with more premium feeling textiles, better padding, no rethread shoulder straps, a fancy magnetic buckle, and a canopy that's extendable and stretches a tad lower, though I'd note that the extra ventilation panels on the sides unfortunately don't have flaps to cover them. Moving on to parent comfort, the TRVL LX's handle has a higher fixed height of 108 centimeters, while its shopping basket is both larger and easier to access. When it comes to folding, the TRVL LX also auto-folds, and the mechanisms on the handle feel a bit tighter and better fitted, which makes the process smoother. That being said, however, the internal mechanisms are also more complex, which can potentially lead to more problems down the line as the model loosens up. When folded, the TRVL LX can also be carried by the bumper bar and additionally has a strap to sling the model over your shoulder. Like the Pact Pro, the folded size of the TRVL LX is not too bad for packing in the trunk or storing away at home, but is even further beyond the IATA's guidelines, meaning you'll be even more likely to have to gate check it with air travel. As far as how the TRVL LX feels to use, though the chassis has slightly thicker bars, it lacks the Pact Pro's support struts, running from the handle arms to the rear legs, and it's also similarly loose in several connection points, making it also feel a bit fragile and rickety in my opinion. Looking at driving, the TRVL LX has even larger wheels than the Pact Pro, 8.3 inches in the back and 6.3 in the front, and similarly noticeable suspension, which allow the model to more comfortably tackle harder ground. Though, as with the Pact Pro, overdoing it in such conditions is likely to accelerate wear and loosening, unfortunately. So which one of these should you get then? In my opinion, this one mostly comes down to price, where, though the TRVL LX does definitely have a few advantages with its more premium feeling seat, easier to access shopping basket, and larger wheels, this isn't nearly enough in my opinion to even come close to making up for the massive difference in price. $550 for the TRVL LX versus only around $200 for the Pact Pro, especially when considering that both models are a bit on the weak side versus the wider market, and thus really only good purchases for travel or lighter in and out of the car use, and that the Pact Pro also has both a longer seat back and comes with car seat adapters that you don't get with the TRVL LX, all of which leaves me with the opinion that the Pact Pro provides significantly more value for its price. In any case, we hope you found this video interesting, and if you did, please subscribe, as a sort of support really helps us to continue making videos in the future. If you'd like to know more about either of these models, we have standalone reviews that go into a lot more detail, and links have been added in the description. In addition, if you're currently shopping for a stroller, we have a buyer's guide on our Patreon page, which lists a wide range of models that we recommend, with a lot of technical and lifestyle related information. You can find it by following the link in the description as well. Thank you.